Who's ready to get a little bit better? If so, you should comment yes right now. Woo! I'm ready to get better. I hope you're ready to get better. And I've had a conversation with several one-on-one clients this week. It's kind of been a theme, and that's typically if you coach, you start to notice these things. And so, since it was a theme through multiple conversations, I thought it might serve you for me to kind of have this conversation with you. And here's basically the question: is it wrong that I always want more? Like, is there something wrong? Like, I always want more. There's always something else. Is that wrong? Should I not feel that way? Is that like greedy? And here's how I would answer that. It depends. Because on one hand, you can be in this place where you are settling in your life. I will just straight up tell you, settling is one of the worst things you can do in your life. As several of my mentors say often, if you're not growing, you're supposed to say it out loud or type it in the comments right there. If you're not growing, you are dying, okay? So when we choose to settle, to live in less than our full potential, and we say, well, I want more, but like I can't get more. So, I guess I'll just have to be happy with what I have. And like, I really want more, but like, that's for other people. I couldn't do that. And I'm not qualified to do that. And, like I want more, but I'm never going to get more. It just never works out for me. And if any of that resonates with you and you feel like you want more, but you're relating to some of the things I'm saying right now, let me just address this one real quick because I'm going to spend my time on the other side. You're going to want to write this down. If you want to know if that's okay, my word to you is this: stop it! Oh, I love that Bob Newhart video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just type Bob Newhart and stop it into YouTube and you will be entertained. But this is a mantra for my life because so many times, people, we're doing stupid stuff like settling for less when we were created for greatness. We were created for more. There is destiny and purpose on the inside of you. Don't settle. Don't live less than your potential. Okay, so boom, that one's done. If you're doing that, stop it. But on the other hand, this is the one I want to talk about today. On the other hand is you're doing the work. You're getting wins. You're making progress. You're experiencing success at a level that you never had before. And you're doing all those things, and still you have this nagging feeling, this perpetual low-grade sense of dissatisfaction because you're always thinking about, okay, that's good and all, but there's more. I gotta go harder. I gotta go bigger. There's more. And if you're there, stop it! Like, seriously, like that is not a good place to live because and by the way, I'm speaking from some things that I've walked through too. So like I've been there when I'm making the progress, but I don't feel the satisfaction. And it's not a healthy place to live. And I know many of you, again, because I've had multiple conversations with clients this week and friends over lunch, and I know many of you relate to this. And so I thought I'd answer this one and take a little time on this. And there's really two big things that I feel like are the solution to that dissatisfaction, that constant drive, pull for more, that dissatisfaction. So, two solutions. Solution number one: you've got to know your worth. Like, I'm not talking about like know your worth. I'm not talking about like what's in your pocket. I'm talking about know your worth. Know that your worth is not dependent upon what you produce. Know that your worth is not dependent upon your net worth. Know that your worth is not dependent upon what other people think about you. Your worth is not dependent upon you hitting every goal that you set. So this is a deep one, and I don't have time to break this one down as much, but I couldn't skip to the second one, which is where I'm going to spend more time on, without saying this. If you want to get free from that low-grade dissatisfaction, you better do some deep work to know your worth. Well, that's good. I wasn't even in my notes. You need to do some deep work to know your worth. That's tweetable. You can at Mark T. Keen on all the platforms right there. Just having fun with you. Okay. So you got to know your worth. And if your worth is hung up in what you produce and what you have and how much money you make, you're never going to be happy. You're always going to want more because you're finding your sense of worth, your sense of significance by producing and doing and hitting that higher level. And if you're always going, and there's no peace on the inside, it's never going to stop. You'll never get free from that dissatisfaction. And so if you want to know how to get free from that, the solution is to find your value. Now, for me, like I know my worth because Jesus is my savior. I'm a Christian. And so I find worth by being a child of God. Some of you might frame things a little bit differently, but if you believe there's a higher power, that there's a God in heaven that loves you, love wins. And if you can find worth in knowing that you are enough because you're his and you're loved and you don't have to produce, like you are inherently, some of you just believe like as a human being, I have worth. And if the more we can get into that place of, I don't have to produce, I'm loved, I'm enough. And for me, that means I'm a child of God. So know your worth. Number two, let's spend some time here. How do you get free from that low-grade dissatisfaction, that need to have more? This is complicated. This is big. This is complex. You never heard this before. Live with gratitude. I know, you're like, oh, like some of you are like, I'm done. Like, I already heard this. Like, come on, you've heard it, but are you doing it? Are you living with gratitude every day of your life? Because if we live with a grateful heart, it is really hard to be dissatisfied with what we have. Because if every day you're looking for the things that you can celebrate, if every day your heart is overflowing with gratitude, it is the most powerful cure for that dissatisfaction, that need for more. So if you want to get free from that, live with gratitude. Can I give you, how many I got here? 3 ways. 3 ways to live with gratitude. Like, let's get this really, really practical. Number one, and these are 3. One of these, a friend of mine over lunch today just gave me this one, and like he talked about it, and I was like, oh, that's a key. But the first one is this: celebrate the wins. Some of you are like, do you guys ever watch my videos and be like, man, I wish he'd say something new because I feel like I've heard this. And you know what? I am grateful to be a broken record, because if I can keep saying over and over again the simple things, the compound effect habits and mindsets and skills that take to create a life of joy and fulfillment and impact, I'll keep saying them. So live with gratitude. And how do you do that? Number 1, celebrate the wins. Like, look for the wins. There's a guy, Johnny Rocket, I can't remember his name, but he has, look, just type in winning streak and Johnny on YouTube or on social media. You'll probably find it. But he does this whole video about, I'm on a winning streak. And he walking down the street and sees a penny on the ground. There's a penny on the ground. I'm on a winning streak. Like, I walked in and I got my Starbucks coffee. I got like $4 for a cup of joy. And I'm like, I'm on a winning streak. Somebody smiled at me. I'm on a winning streak. Listen, it does not take much to celebrate. You've got to live in a perpetual state of celebrating the wins. Celebrating the good things that are happening. Some of them you created. Some of them you didn't even create, but it's the progress, right? You've got to celebrate that. Don't just know it here, but celebrate it. Take time to back up, to slow down, to celebrate. I'm not really supposed to talk about this one yet, but like, we just became a #1 Amazon bestseller with a book that I co-authored, and I'm trying to slow down and take that in. Just soak that in and celebrate it. Took my wife out to dinner the other night, getting ready to go on another trip to celebrate the wins, which is closely connected to the second one. Some of you get caught up in where you're not yet. That's the more out there, but you forget to stop and look how far you've already come, right? And that is measuring progress. Number 2, you want to live in gratitude, measure your progress so that you can see it. Now, some of you, like, you got metrics and KPIs and all these things in your business. Some of you, it's just simply picking up your journal and writing down and being able to go back a month or a year in your journal and just like, oh, look where I was back then and look where I'm at today. The things that I was praying for back then, they're now the norm of my life. But you've got to measure progress in a concrete way so that you can say, we were there, now we're here. I was there, now I'm here. I used to struggle with that. Now I'm here. My marriage used to be in this place. Now it's here. My kids used to be dealing with all, but now they're here and we have this kind of relationship. measure the progress. Sometimes, like I'm all about celebrating the wins everywhere they show up every single day, but I also want to measure concrete progress in the important areas, the essential areas of my life, so that I can celebrate the wins a little bit bigger. So that's number 2. Number 3, how do you get free from that dissatisfaction? This is the one that came from lunch. This was so good. Serve people who are a few steps behind you. Like we should always have 3 kinds of relationships in our life: those that we're reaching up to, like mentorship; those that we're reaching out to, peers; and those that we're reaching down to pull them up, right? To serve them. Proximity is power. And sometimes you're the proximity that someone else needs to pull them up. And so I think we should always have people in our lives that are a few steps behind us that we are reaching down to pull them up to serve them. You know why in this case? Because they look at you and they're like, I want to be there. I wish I had that level of progress and success. I wish I had a marriage like that, a business like that, a car like that. Like whatever it is, you need to be around some people who want to be where you're at. So it reminds you of the gratitude that you should have. Like they look at you and they're grateful for that, like they're pursuing that, but you forget because it just became normal to you. And when you get around people who are a few steps behind you, you remember where you were a little bit more and it fills your heart with gratitude. So some of you this week, you just need to serve somebody that's a few steps behind you so you can remember what you felt like when you were there. So you want to get free from that dissatisfaction. Number 1, do the deep work to find your worth, to know who you are. And then number 2, live with gratitude overflowing out of your life. It is a cure for that dissatisfaction in your heart. And hey, I'm all about pursuing more. Ed Milet has a great podcast. You should go look it up. Blissful Dissatisfaction. Blissful. Woo! So grateful. So grateful. God is so good. Life is so good. But blissful dissatisfaction, that I can be grateful here and still pursuing them more. That's the balance, the tension that I think we should have. Be fully grateful, like, man, loving the moment, being in the present, and still okay with pursuing the more because we're going to fulfill our God-given potential. With that, this is where you should get off this video right now and go out there and give your greatness to the world because somebody needs what's on the inside of you. Don't hold it back. Don't underestimate it. Go out there and give it away. You're awesome. I love you guys. Have a great week.